Welcome to a new series where I'll be breaking down every current faction in the Gundam trading card game. We're going to be going over their effects, playstyles, and synergies so you can really understand what makes each one tick. The goal here isn't to tell you what deck to play, but to give you the information that you need to build better decks, possibly giving you the tools so you can be the one to shape the new meta. So whether you're new to the game, want to be more competitive, or simply just wanted to try something new, this series should help you see the bigger picture behind it all. And before we begin, guys, help us out by hitting that like and subscribe button. And also, if you want, hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we upload next. So the Titans are here and featuring 13 unique cards. So there are 9 units, 2 pilots, 1 base, and only 1 command card. Now I believe there's a second command because I'm not sure who's the character that's portrayed in the dramatic turnabout. I'm not sure if that's from the Titans faction, but honestly this card works incredibly well with them, so I'm just adding it here. So off the bat, we're gonna see the Titans' main ability is providing plus attack power to friendly Titans, and their secondary ability is of course doing what Blue does best in dealing damage to rested units. This is also the first faction that introduces freezing. That's just a nickname what TriloG players call for the ability to prevent a card from becoming active or untapping during the opponent's next turn. Alright guys, let's go over some synergies here. So the main attractor for the Titans is going to be, of course, Psycho Gundam. It has Breach 3 and is pretty much the boss monster of the Titans faction. Now the goal of this card is simply to attack an opponent's unit, deal damage to their shield, recover some health, and also draw some cards, so there's a lot going on here. Now while Psycho Gundam is a really good card, it's really all about 4 and her ability. That's really what feeds into it. Now 4 doesn't have to actually be on the Psycho Gundam, she's also a Cyber new type, so she can be on different varying units. Of course, she can be on the Psycho Gundam MA mode that has built-in repair too, so that also triggers her ability. Here are some of the other cards you can use with 4. Now in order to draw the card, all she requires is you to have 4 less cards in your hand and that the unit that she's linked to is healed. Now the obvious way is of course using Psycho Gundam, but other ways of achieving this is using cards like Dramatic Turnabout. This says choose 1 friendly damage unit, it recovers 2 HP, then draw 1 card. So that's really the underlying theme here, is finding cards that heal her. Another card that came out in set 2 is called the Dominion. When you play this card, it chooses any friendly blue unit, it recovers 2 HP. Now one that I actually like is side 7. So when you rest this base, you can choose 1 friendly unit, it recovers 1. Every single turn you can tap this without having to worry about you having to attack into a unit. So this is going to be the more safer way of drawing cards. Quite honestly guys, any kind of base or effect that heals a unit is going to be able to trigger this ability. The next unit I want to go over is Violent. This is an introduction to the new freeze effect. It says when paired, choose 1 rested enemy unit with 3 or less HP. It won't be able to activate during your opponent's next turn. So this is pretty good, and it also links with the pilot Jared Mesa. Jared Mesa just simply gets +1 AP as long as you control another Titan. So it's actually a pretty quick +2/+1 pilot for only 1 cost on level 3. Now the last unit I want to go over is the Gundam Mark II from Titans. It has a universal link with its faction, but it says during pair, at least with a level 3 or lower pilot of any faction, when this card is destroyed, you may discard a unit card from your hand, and if you do, you pretty much bring that paired pilot back to your hand. Now there are 13 level 3 pilots to choose from, but this will honestly work best with the actual Mauer Foroa. Sorry if I got her name wrong. Essentially because she's also a command card. So if she's bounced back to your hand, you also have access to another action. Alright guys, let me just explain some of the strengths and weaknesses, at least in my opinion, for the Titans faction here. So the Titans faction here also features one of the 2/2 guys that everyone loves. It's level 2 1 cost, and it also features a level 3 2 cost 3/3 with that link ability. Now these particular types of cards are really good because they can work with anyone in the Titan faction and they have decent stats for its cost. Now other than the Psycho Gundam packages, and we'll get to that in a second, everyone else tends to kind of fall off. Where they retain their value is actually in the +1 AP that they provide. Let's take a look at Barzam for example. It's only a 3/2 for a level 3 cost 2, which is like equal cost, but it is giving you that +1, so that's where it kind of makes up for it. Now it does require a Titan to be in play, and it's only referring to your Titan units and not friendly Titans. So quite honestly, a double Titan deck in 2v2s may not be the way to go. So with there being only 13 cards for the Titans, you are actually able to create an entire Titans deck, so that's what I went ahead and did here. I'm going to try to do that for most of the factions that we go over, and this is the best way of trying to find the best synergies of the cards. Not all of them are good, I won't say that, but there are some that actually stand out. It might make you think, I might be able to take this part and put it into a different deck and combine these synergies. And if you made it to this part of the video, I appreciate that, guys. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. All right, let's go ahead and get to some gameplay and see if we can get some cool foreplays going on. Oops. Alright guys, just from the initial testing, we learned how the deck flows, how Titans work. So let's go ahead and see if we can modify it. Now obviously there's many ways you can go. Obviously the main guys of the show are Cycle Gundams. And having the keyword breach and repair pretty much leads us to believe that they need to be able to attack into something. So being able to rest and opposing units is going to be something really good. So you can use cards like Amuro, Siege Deploy, or check this out, you can use Unicorn Gundam Banshee. It links with cyber new types, which works perfectly well with 4. And the other ability that Titans have that we like are the ping abilities from the actual unit of Gabe and Alexandria. Now there's only 2 portions, but we can go ahead and immediately add Gun Tank to the fray and Angsha. Now they're not Titans, but they help us get there. And we also got to put the Ping Queen in the deck, the Marita Cruz. Now she automatically works in the deck along with 4 because she's also a cyber new type, being able to be going to the Unicorn Banshee of course, but also being able to go to the Cycle Gundam as well, since it requires a link of a cyber new type trait. So we automatically have some synergies there. So we're gonna go with red, blue for this particular build. Now of course we're gonna have to try to stick to as many Titan units as possible so we can make sure our level 6 Cycle Gundam is still able to be triggered pretty easily. So we're gonna go ahead and keep our Hyzek in because that's a pretty good card, and we're actually gonna keep the level 3 Marasai in the deck here because that's just also a good static card as well. Now it's not super strong like a Rizal could be, but of course we just want that Titan trait, and also it can work with 4. Alright, so here's an example of my deck that I built so far. I went ahead and included a level 2 1 cost 2/2 in the deck here to just kind of keep it good front end heavy. So now we have it assisted with the Hyzak for a total of 8 of those types of units. And we also just decided to keep 1 Jared in the deck and went down to only 3 4s just to kind of keep the curve of pilots a little bit earlier because, you know, we need to be able to combat aggro. So we can't beat everything. We can go ahead and talk about that later. I think the landscape has turned into either you go aggro or you go white blockers plus whatever color you want to. And I really don't want to do that. And as you can see, this is the blue deck does actually have Amuro in Gundam. So that's going to be a little bit of a different. Again, you can build this deck in many different ways, guys. This is just like my initial idea. area. And for a command card, we actually decided to use 4 all-ranged attack. Now, I believe this card needs to be used multiple times. Like if you get 2 in your hand, you're almost super safe versus aggro. But obviously this is a good setup card for all of your other pings sometimes versus an aggressive deck. If you just use one of these, your other cards become a lot easier to use. Now, even though 4 draws this cards, I decided to go ahead with a couple show resolves here because she doesn't draw cards until later and she really has a requirement. So in our particular deck here, we don't have many ways to heal. The only way she's actually going to trigger her ability is by actually using her actually particular units. She may not ever get her ability if she was ever on the Banshee, but she will get her ability if she's on the Cycle Gundam. Alright guys, feel free to take a snapshot of this list here and give it a shot. And of course, modified. This is one of my just first tries at the deck, and I think it's pretty good so far, but there's many ways you can go about it. If you want to go more Titans, lower end, and be more of like a bruiser deck with all the plus AP, you can go that route. You don't need to go to ping round at all. I just kind of wanted to have both Cyber New types in the deck. I think that would be really cool, and they could link with each other. I like when decks have multiple ways of linking. I'm not really a fan of the decks that have like one link per unit in the deck here, unless the pods themselves have very like sparing abilities. Like Amuro, he's kind of a splash in. You can almost put Amuro Ray in the deck without putting Gundam in the deck and he'll work just fine. Now just for some notable mentions here, if you guys want to build a deck like this but you want to try to use some other cards, you can also use Tsuchi's Hideout. This is a card that they actually have to destroy first in order to deal damage, but you don't have to worry about it being rested. You can also use the Rilua. This is also in theme with the deck as well. You know, being able to pick a 5 or less. You could probably have more uses than the other one, the Alexandra, but I kind of keep it the theme here since the Alexandra is a Titan card, which really doesn't matter. So you can kind of interchange these if you really want to. And when it comes to a couple command cards, you can obviously use things like Close Combat or Battle of the Aces. Battle of the Aces actually is way stronger this particular rotation, Season 2, because purple is around and they'll do a lot of self damage. But alright guys, enough of the explanations here. I'm gonna go ahead and go into some games so you can at least see how this version of the deck plays. I'm not gonna do any commentary, so I'm just gonna throw some music and so you can sit back, relax, and just watch the gameplay. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, that's it for this one, guys. But if you really want to continue to up your deck building game, this video alone won't cut it. So go ahead and click this video right here to watch the next faction breakdown, or of course check out these videos for even more Gundam content. I know life can be hard out there, guys, but keep your head up, keep moving forward, and most importantly, let nothing stop you. Peace out, guys.